Welcome to Cybersecurity Awareness TV, episode number 424, recorded March 18th, 2023. My name is Mac Jackson Jr. I am a cybersecurity researcher and consultant. If this is the first time you have seen our show, I discuss cybersecurity news, awareness, and interviews with tips that you can use to protect yourself from the fastest growing crimes of the 21st century, and that is cyber threats and cyber crimes. I'd like to thank all of our viewers who have been part of our show and supported us here on Cybersecurity Awareness TV to help bring this message to the public. I'd also like to send a shout out to all of my students at DeVry University. Hope they're listening, and definitely make sure you take notes. You can find more about my company and my show here on WWDBTV by going to my website, and that's at MacJacksonJr.com, MacJacksonJR.com. Folks, we're also all over the social media. Remember, you'll find us on social media. Remember to share, like, and subscribe, folks, to the latest news and events regarding cybersecurity awareness. In today's show, we're going to talk about the evolving landscape of cybercrimes around the world, and give you stories that I have researched and found from around the world to share with you. In our second segment, we'll talk about FBI warnings against scams. And folks, these are some really very terrifying scams that are going on out there. And in our third segment, we will talk about business productivity and security. And I'll have a guest for us on our third segment. And my guest is Franklin Spicer and Travis Wicks from MyPegasusonline. We're going to talk about online services and marketing your online business. Folks, we have a great show for you. In our first segment, our landscape of cybersecurity, the ever-evolving landscape from around the world. Cybersecurity Awareness TV, we talk about all these different stories around the world that affect you when it comes to cyber crimes and cyber threats. In today's digital world, data breaches have become all too common occurrence. With each year, there have been an increase in cyber crimes getting more sophisticated, and businesses of all sizes have been threatened from these type of attacks. The evolving cyber threats and the landscape are a major concern for everyone from government and commercial sector. Here at Cybersecurity Awareness TV, we aim to introduce educated ideas and perspectives for you and individuals that you could use to protect yourself from these types of crimes. Our first story takes place in Washington, D.C., where a renowned cybersecurity expert and analyst, Christopher Krebs, discusses the recent data breaches and attacks from the U.S. Congress. Krebs takes a look at the inside of these threats and potential predators and the sophisticated way they are using to acquire our information from our U.S. government, and what the U.S. government is doing to protect our Congress and databases from this. Krebs also reveals his concerns regarding this recent cyber attacks on Face the Nation, and we have an interview clip that we'd like to share with you regarding this particular type of cyber threat. Here's a report from CBS Face the Nation.
And turn now to Chris Krebs, who is former director of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. He's also a CBS News expert and analyst. It's good to have you here.
Morning.
Before we get to what's happening with the Silicon Valley Bank, I want to ask you about what has happened with this data breach. We learned on Wednesday that certain members of the House and Senate were told personal data, including like home addresses and social security numbers, was taken from a DC health insurance provider. It's like 56,000 people. And then that information is being sold online. Who's behind this?
So a cyber criminal known as Intel Broker, and it's not clear immediately who that person is, where they live, but they have been involved in previous data breaches and attempting to sell information on certain dark web markets. And the point here is that you steal the information and someone buys it, and then they can monetize it through fraud and identity theft and things like that. So Intel Broker has previously claimed that they had access to U.S. federal agencies. This is a different case, though, where they've actually taken information, they put it online, and made it available for sale. FBI was able to get in and buy some of this information. It's not clear if by buying that information it was deleted on the other end, but that's what happens in this very, very vibrant cyber criminal ecosystem.
So what more does the U.S. government need to do to protect, I mean, some of these staffers and lawmakers are at risk here. how do you protect against that? And is this a state actor? Is there any involvement?
You know, it's not clear who the actor is.
Okay.
It's a cyber criminal. It's very possibly a Russian-linked cyber criminal. Russia allows a very pervasive environment and permissive environment for cyber criminals. It actually helps the kind of broader Russian strategic objective to undermine confidence in the U.S.'s ability to protect citizens. It actually brings a significant amount of revenue into Russia. But you know, what happens next is kind of the question. So for one, some of the markets where Intel Broker was selling this information, they've actually deactivated the Intel Broker account, reportedly, in part because these markets don't want undue attention. They don't want the FBI coming in and shutting it down. So they try to stay below the radar. Same kind of thing happened after the Colonial Pipeline breach that we spoke about a year and a half, 2 years ago. So what will happen now is if the information is available for sale, who buys it?
Yeah.
Likely, again, fraudsters, but also possibly security services of our adversaries that are looking to get information on members of Congress for building their own portfolios and dossiers. Political operatives could buy it, you know, for opposition research and other purposes. But the hope is that by kind of shading them out of the market and the FBI's disruptive operations, they can ensure that this is not weaponized, this is not information that's used for nefarious purposes.
You talk to tech companies and startup companies, I know. A number of the businesses that had their accounts or loans with Silicon Valley Bank are very worried right now.
Yes.
They don't have access to cash, even just to pay employees.
Right.
What are you hearing? Like, what is the level of panic here?
The biggest challenge right now, I think these companies, and again, it is 50% of VC-backed U.S. companies banked with Silicon Valley. It's approximately 60,000 companies. The challenge they're having right now is that they don't have access to information in addition to access to their money. I've talked to a number of companies that are banked with SVB, with Silicon Valley Bank, and they've not heard anything over the weekend. Here's the challenge, though. Most companies issue payroll on the 15th and the last day of the month. The 15th is Wednesday. To make payroll on this upcoming Wednesday, you have to have that money in the bank tomorrow to process. By not having access to information, what money they will have access to tomorrow to process payroll, they're now lining up alternative sources of funding. In some cases, we're seeing predatory loans. So it would be very helpful, as Congressman Khanna pointed out, if we could get some clarity on the situation and, as the Secretary mentioned, some guarantees for those depositors in place today. If a deal comes through today and access to funding is open tomorrow, that's fantastic. But we've got to have some certainty, and these company executives need information. They need clarity on what's happening so they can take care of their employees, or otherwise we're going to see furloughs next week in the tech industry.
Well, and you heard the Treasury Secretary say we are in touch, or through the FDIC are in touch with depositors. But you are also saying publicly there needs to be clear statements of confidence to shore things up.
Again,
and you didn't get that, is what
we're not getting that right now. And I think this is, again, what Congressman Khanna was talking about with the speed of Twitter. Information travels so quickly. Yes, you can have runs on the bank, but you also need to get that information out there in the hands of the 60,000 companies that are banked there, over 250,000 FDIC insured limits, so that they can also communicate to their employees. No one wants to miss a paycheck, and there are millions of employees with paychecks at stake next week.
And I did think it was interesting because, as some have said to me, you know, these are medium-sized, small companies, startups. This isn't big, bad Wall Street, right? It's a little bit more politically easy to convince the public if you want to step in and help smaller businesses. But what's happening there with the politics of this?
Well, in part, I think that most of your viewers probably hadn't even heard of Silicon Valley Bank until Thursday night, Friday morning. But this really is the economic engine of the United States of America. This is the innovation engine. This is a lot of the future, that tech competition that we talk about with China and others. This is where it's happening. These are the front lines. We really need to ensure that the depositors, again, not the shareholders in the bank, but the depositors in the bank have certainty, so we don't see further runs on tech-friendly banks next week that go into systemically important banks. We really need this diversity in the banking system so we don't concentrate risk at the top and have a much more fragile banking industry.
the next few hours may be key.
I think so.
And we'll be watching for any update on that. I know we've heard the Israeli Prime Minister spoken on this, the British Finance Secretary has spoken on this, now the Treasury Secretary. We'll see what comes together in the next few hours. Chris, good to have your analysis.
Thanks.
Folks, I agree with Christopher Krebs' assessment of the recent data breaches of members of Congress and his expressed concern about the recent banking issues that affected the Silicon banking in Silicon Valley. Krebs' emphasis on the importance of taking action against this cyber threats is something we all should be concerned with, as well as providing information about the banking issue as well. Is definitely a concern. It's something we all should be aware of and keep our alertness up on this. The overall Krebs' analysis of this types of issues regarding data breaches is something that we here at Cybersecurity Awareness TV are on top of, and we are hoping that our U.S. government and businesses alike stay informed. Our next story continues to the U.S., talking about the most popular application that's used around the world, especially here in the U.S., and that is TikTok. The ban on TikTok now in over half of the United States governmental agencies have banned the use of TikTok for governmental employees. Now it's a concern in the administrative office, the president's office, about banning TikTok from the U.S. completely. This ban is raising lots of concern against privacy and freedom of expression as well. However, the information regarding TikTok is becoming more concerning. Is the app on TikTok that you have on your smartphones a actually spy device for China? The app itself and TikTok is owned by a company called ByteDance out of China. It is reported that this company, ByteDance, is well connected with the Chinese government, and they do deliver information about anything that the Chinese government wants. So if the social media apps are collecting information on end users, what they do, what their likes are, apps that they're utilizing within their phones, it may be something of a concern that we look into this. Now, it was reported that lawmakers were looking to remove or sanction TikTok and ByteDance, but negotiations have been discussed, have been stopped, and they can't come up with reasons why they should ban TikTok in the U.S. By having another company buy out the company of TikTok and have it owned by a U.S. base. Negotiations are still being talked about. We have a report here I'd like to share with you regarding Biden's administration to review the situation and make a decision if we should ban TikTok in the U.S. Our story comes to you from ABC News.
Trouble is brewing for TikTok. The Biden administration is warning the social media platform could be banned in the U.S. if its Chinese parent company doesn't sell its stake in the U.S. app.
Well, the warning comes as the White House voices increasing security concerns over user data. ABC News' Elizabeth Schulze joining us now from the White House, along with senior investigative reporter Aaron Katursky to discuss. Well, Elizabeth, this all comes on the heels of a ban already set in place on government phones. The UK just announced today that they're banning the app on all UK government devices. So what evidence is the White House pointing to that shows that TikTok is clearly a security risk?
Hey, Kara, right. So there are three big concerns that the White House and other government officials, including the FBI, point to when it comes to the security concerns around TikTok. And they all center around the fact that TikTok is owned by a Chinese company. So first, the question is, could the Chinese government try to ask for data about American users? And because of laws in China, would TikTok be forced to hand over user data to the Chinese government? That's one concern. Second, could the Chinese government use the app to spread misinformation? Could it actually influence what users see to share misinformation or affect political views? And then there's this question of, once the Chinese government has possible access to this data, could it then continue to track users, potentially use that for spying? Now, of course, TikTok denies that it does any of this. It says, show us the evidence, and you asked about the evidence. We so far have heard of a lot more warnings versus evidence at this point, but these are genuine concerns, at least according to the officials that are here.
Well, Elizabeth, I don't know what I'd do without TikTok. I don't, just to be clear, I don't post anything on TikTok. But the music, the cooking, the sports, the old movies, you can find
cute little kids.
Yeah, again, I'm not following that. But, you can find interests that are fun. And, in fact, it's just had this gangbuster growth because it is so much fun. What are the demands? What does the White House want TikTok to do And if they don't, how would you enforce a ban? How would they just remove it from my phone?
Well, 100 million active users of TikTok, Terry. You are one of millions of others who love using this app. And that's something the Biden administration is aware of. They've been working with TikTok for more than 2 years now to try to come to some sort of an agreement that would alleviate some of these concerns over data security. But what we've seen is this kind of hardening of that stance now that there is more of a possibility of this forced sale that would essentially take an agreement off the table because of the escalating concerns that have been heightened just in recent days.
All right, so Aaron, according to cybersecurity company Faroot, TikTok has your data even if you've never used the app. So what were the takeaways for you from this report, and is the concern from the Biden administration warranted here?
This report makes clear, Kira, that whether you've used TikTok or not, whether you have it on your phone or not, whether you've deleted the app or not, TikTok still knows what you're doing online because it's able to sprinkle throughout the internet what are called pixels. These are tracking devices sprinkled like fairy dust across all sorts of websites that have nothing to do with TikTok. You want to go searching on Weight Watchers, you want to go to the University of Arizona, you want to look at the United Methodist Church online. Every time you do that, you've barely hit enter or clicked on the website, and TikTok's pixels are already at work tracking what you're doing, even before you've consented to accepting cookies or otherwise given consent. And so even if TikTok is banned or if a sale is forced, in some ways this report makes clear from the cybersecurity company Faroot that it may not actually matter.
It's pretty ominous. So, Aaron, what has TikTok responded about all this? To this report in particular from Faroot, claiming that they're collecting data on people both willingly and unwillingly?
TikTok hasn't responded just yet that we know of, but they've been making this point to the Biden administration that a sale would not necessarily curtail the data collection. And they're not the only ones that do this, Terry. Meta, behind Facebook, Google, Microsoft, all of these big companies are siphoning up Americans' data this way. Most of the time, it's just used for advertising or to give you what you want to see, video-wise or whatever on your TikTok account, Terry. But the concern, of course, the administration has is that some of this data is being shipped off to places where the U.S. doesn't want it, places like China or Russia.
I know you guys have TikTok accounts too, right? Right? Or am I alone here at ABC?
Oh,
Anyway.
did you say
You're
no,
alone,
Aaron?
Terry. You're alone,
Right.
Terry.
No TikTok fairy dust for you.
Viewer.
Same, basically. I'm not going to post anything. Nobody's interested in what I would post. But thanks very much, Aaron and listeners.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
Folks, in this previous story, we explored how social media companies such as Meta, formerly Facebook, have become experts in collecting data from their users and selling it to advertisers. Every time someone uses a social media platform, they leave behind digital footprint, which includes their personal identifiable information, browsing history, preferences, all kinds of information. Social media companies use this data to create a comprehensive profile for each of their users, which they, the actual advertisers, or social media companies that is, can sell to advertisers and use it to generate traffic from different types of demographics. This targeted marketing has become a lucrative business for social media companies, but it has created a rising concern about the privacy and ethical use of personal data. Hence, that's why we are in a discussion right now about TikTok. Collecting personal data from citizens by nation states has become a major concern, and it poses a interesting threat to individuals' privacy and security. The prospect of sensitive data and personal information being weaponized against individuals are widely concerned here in the U.S., not only to give a cause for harming, but the results that our government and our U.S. commercial businesses must take precautions to make sure that our personal information is protected. And folks, this is something we have said from the beginning of our show here, and when I launched my business over 30 years ago. Our data is most important to us, and it is protected. But we need to make sure that companies and our legislative governments have means and ways of protecting our personal information. Our next story takes us down under to Australia. Cybersecurity authorities in Australia have raised concerns about the safety of the country's military due to the growing threats of cyber attacks. The possibility of such these attacks is alarming. As of such, the military as well as the government of Australia are looking to revamp the way they look at their cybersecurity posture. As a result, the experts are working on the potential threats and implementing the necessary safeguards to protect this sensitive information. Because if you've watched our show here for the last couple of months, we have talked about major stories coming out from Australia regarding cyber attacks in their banking industry, like we have here in the U.S., in their DMVs in Australia, like we have here in our U.S., all been under these types of cyber attacks. Here's a story I'd like to share with you coming from Sky News Australia.
Now, another story in the news today, there are more calls to tighten our cybersecurity. There's experts warning that we need to avoid the loss of critical AUKUS blueprints to Chinese hackers. Cybersecurity experts are saying that we could be the weak link in the Five Eyes partnership, and particularly in the partnership with the United States and the UK. How important is this, given we now have just this morning had this historic AUKUS agreement?
Well, I think the British and the Americans will be nervous about what's happened just recently here. Australians still need to be convinced our law enforcement authorities are being equipped with the appropriate levels of funding, staff and expertise to feel comfortable about life online. Every day it seems we're hearing of increasingly sophisticated scams breaching our privacy and emptying bank accounts. And it's clear from the experience of Optus and Medibank late last year that the evil minds of the dark web seem to be 2 steps ahead of the authorities in this country. Now, the potential is nightmarish when you consider that cybersecurity experts are expressing real fears about the integrity of our military security, especially on this day. Shari.
Absolutely. Adam Walters, thank you for joining me.
Folks, criminals are always looking for potential victims to exploit. And by having proper cybersecurity procedures set up for you personally, that you need to protect yourself is one of the first steps that you can do. And we also need to make sure that we are contacting our government officials and letting them know that we are watching them. And we are definitely going to be pushing them to make sure they have procedures and process, that is, in place to protect us from these types of cyber threats. Folks, it's important that we stay on top of all these issues. If you'd like to find out more about these concerns and read up on stories I've written on my blog called Professor Mac's Blog, you can find it on MacJacksonJr.com/Max-blog for articles regarding cybersecurity, TikTok, and alike. Folks, we'll be right back here, Cybersecurity Awareness TV, after these messages. Hello folks, this is Mac Jackson Jr. from Vanderson Cyber Group. The problem with businesses today is that they are affected by cyber attacks from around the world, but companies are not sure of what to do. Normally, they are reactive instead of proactive. But folks, cyber attacks can affect your bottom line, and it will affect you financially, legally, and your business reputation. Here at Vanderson Cyber Group, we can help you develop a policy by training your employees on what to do if they are involved in a cyber attack and how to mitigate it and fight against it. Folks, we call it here #StayCyberWoke. And that's Vanderson Cyber Group here in Las Vegas and around the world. You can reach me, folks, at VandersonCyberGroup.com or my website, MacJacksonJr.com as well. Here locally, 702-868-0808. Give us a call today, folks. We must fight back. Welcome, folks, to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I am your host, Mac Jackson Jr. In this segment, we're talking about FBI warnings. These warnings that I have for you folks are really, really terrifying. And the warning is regarding virtual kidnapping. In a recent report The FBI has highlighted a growing prevalence of an extortion scam that has caused nearly 40,000 victims to lose approximately $55 million in the past year alone. One of the most important emotional damages of these types of scam is the virtual kidnapping, which exploits people's fear about loved one's safety. The next story explores into the FBI's report of these findings, providing insight into the dangers caused by this type of scam and importance to stay vigilant in protecting yourself and your loved ones from this type of scam. According to recent reports from the FBI, this scam is on the increase, that is. This scam involves tricking victims into believing that their loved ones have been kidnapped, leading them into paying large amounts of ransom in exchange for their release. Such scams can be severely emotional tolerance to the actual victims and their families. Folks, we've talked about this as well regarding ransomware, right? Where you have an invisible cyber attacker locking down your computer and wanting ransom for it. Now we have the hackers and scammers being more brazen, picking up the phone and pretending that they have your loved ones kidnapped. They want monies to be Vimeo'd or sent with cryptocurrency immediately. Now you may think that, well, that scam can't be possible. I won't believe them. They're very sophisticated, folks. These hackers and scammers have come up with ways to use AI, our technology, to get the voice of your particular loved one, and then use that AI to create a phone call that in a way that you would believe that your loved one has been kidnapped. The couple of stories I have for you are very, very frightening and definitely alarming. But there's two parts from two different news sources. I'd like to express this with you folks. It's really interesting, and definitely be on top of it and be aware of it, and definitely take heed. If this happens to you, definitely make sure that you contact the law enforcement agencies regarding it. Our first story comes to us from 13 News Now.
And to this now, a new FBI report finds nearly 40,000 victims lost about $55 million from extortion scams last year. One of the most emotionally devastating kinds is called virtual kidnapping. ABC spoke with a family who was targeted, and ABC's Ariel Reshef has their story.
So good at spotting. An urgent warning from a woman who says she fell victim to an alarming scam known as virtual kidnapping.
This was like the realest, scariest moment of my entire life. I was terrified that he was going to kill my sister.
Beth Royce tells us her experience left her so shaken, she took to TikTok to alert others. The video now with more than 6 million views.
I was awoken this morning at 7:20 a.m. roughly to a phone call from my sister. Like, it was her contact. It was her face that popped up on my phone. It looked exactly like my sister was calling.
In her case, Beth said thieves hijacked her sister Kayla's actual number, the caller claiming to be holding her hostage, demanding money to free her.
He sounded really erratic, so he was yelling at me a lot. He said, "You're not going to tell anyone. You're not going to call the police. Don't tell a soul or I'm going to shoot your sister."
Beth seen on home security footage while on the phone with the man for 15 minutes. She alerted her mother, who was staying at her house.
She was mouthing to me, "They got Kayla, they're going to kill her."
Beth's mom says she immediately called police and her daughter Kayla's phone to see if she would answer.
She's like, "Where are you? Are you real?" And I was like, I'm in my house in Seattle.
I'm going to pay you right now.
Meanwhile, outside, Beth is still on the line with the man. So panicked, she transferred $1,000 for what she thought would secure her sister's safety.
It went all the way through.
But after sending the money and police arriving, Beth realized it was all a hoax.
My mom said, "I have Kayla on the phone," and I muted myself and I yelled into my mom's phone, "Kayla, are you there? Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yes, I'm fine." And then I was like, "Then who does this guy have?" Because it sounded so real. And she said, "I don't know."
Authorities warn these scammers can spoof a legitimate number from your contacts, and they'll go to great lengths to stoke fear, keeping you on the phone until you agree to send a payment.
The whole idea is to keep your anxiety so high you won't think logically about whether this is real or not and pay the money.
The FBI, folks, has put out this warning of this type of scam, and this is a new type of scam, but in a way it's still old, right? But they're using technology to increase the dangers of it, or increase the possibilities that victims will pay. We must stay vigilant. To continue the story, I'd like you to take a look at another news story we found from Good Morning America, to continue the news story from the previous one. Check this one out.
Tonight, a TikTok video going viral with more than 6.6 million views.
I was terrified that he was going to kill my sister.
Warning of a scam so realistic that it brought one woman what she calls the scariest moment of her life.
It literally sounded like he was desperate, walking down the street and grabbed someone who happened to be my sister.
Beth Royce got a call early in the morning last week. She says it looked exactly like a call from her sister Kayla, who lives in Seattle.
It was basically as if she was calling me, and I answered it. I heard crying on the other end, and I said, "Kayla, what's wrong? What happened?" And then I heard a man's voice.
Beth says that person on the phone told her he'd kidnapped her sister Kayla and her life was in danger.
He was like, "You're not going to tell anyone. You're not going to speak a word. You're not going to call the police. I have your sister. I'm going to kill her."
I heard muffled sobs in the background that sounded like a woman's voice. So, of course, I was like, oh, my God, that's my sister. I fully 100% believed that this was real.
She alerted her mom, who was staying at her Pennsylvania home. Then she went outside talking to this supposed kidnapper.
I know, I'm trying to...
Seen here on security camera video she shared with NBC News.
He was a little unorganized. Like, he had to call his girlfriend and got her phone number for Venmo. It didn't feel thought out in any way, which made it seem all the more real.
Beth says she did end up sending $1,000, half through Zelle and half through Venmo.
Yep, it went all the way through.
Before realizing her mom had gotten the real Kayla on the phone.
She called me, and the first thing she said was, "Are you real?" And I was like, "Excuse me?" Like, I was really taken back by that. And she was like, "Where are you?"
Kayla says she was finally able to convince her mom she was okay. And then Beth, who was still talking to that scammer, got to talk to her sister.
You could tell she just never thought she was going to hear my voice again.
She was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And my immediate thought was, well, then who does this guy have? Because this is really scary. It seemed so real. It never even occurred to me that it was a scam.
Spoofing, where scammers make their calls appear to come from other people's phone numbers, are not uncommon. We found warnings from local police and from the FBI about them. However, experts say the scams continue because they work.
They're really playing on the emotion of the individual they're talking to. They're talking to a mother, a father, a loved one, a husband, a wife that truly cares about that person, and to pay $500 or $1,000 for their well-being, they'll just go ahead and pay it.
Beth and Kayla's mom called 911, and Beth filed a police report about what happened and the stolen money, which has still not been recovered.
You don't realize what you'll do in the moment for a loved one.
And Stephen Romo joins us now. Stephen, pretty scary situation here all around. What do experts say you should do if you end up getting a phone call like this?
Yeah, Morgan, it is a scary situation, and there was some talk of maybe setting up code words with your family members and trying to use that. But ultimately, experts say the best thing to do is just hang up that phone and call right back. And it should actually ring your loved one's phone and hopefully eliminate that scared situation. By the way, Beth, in this story, she's saving for a wedding and says it was not easy to send that $1,000, and she's really hoping to recover that money. Morgan?
Folks, these stories highlight the growing threat of scams and the importance for strong security measures in place. Cities and organizations, government officials, and everyone must have a robust cybersecurity and security protocols and train their employees to protect themselves from these types of scams and threats that affect our information systems. We can all do our part by participating in this. We must all stay alert. So what we say on the show every week is #StayCyberWoke. Yes, stay cyberwoke, folks. We'll be back after these messages.
Hi, I'm Judy Morio. I invite you to watch my show, What's Your Story with Judy Morio on WWDBTV, where I interview celebrities, doctors, authors, professional speakers, and just plain folks like you and me. So watch my show and also watch some of the other great shows that we have here on WWDBTV. And you can also find us on Roku.
Hey everybody, I am Aaron Phillips. You are?
I'm Governor Val Brown Klingelhofer.
And we host what kind of show?
We host the most fabulous show on this network you've ever seen. It's all about Kiwanis and what's going on in our different cities.
And Kiwanis Connects is the title, and you can watch us every Friday morning, 9 to 10 a.m. Pacific time, right on Facebook or WWDBTV. Say goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Aloha.
Welcome back to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm your host, Mac Jackson Jr. In this segment, we're talking about business tips and to improve productivity and security with my guests in this segment, Frank Spicer and Travis Wicks from MyPegasusonline. MyPegasusonline is a digital marketing and website design firm that specializes in helping small businesses increase their bottom line. With a team of result-focused and thoughtful creators, the company is committed to providing custom-made solutions to meet the unique needs of each client. From website designs to development of digital marketing strategies, MyPegasusonline works to deliver tangible results that can drive business growth. With a track record of success, the company has established itself as a trusted partner for small businesses looking to establish a strong online presence to achieve their goals. My guests today, Frank Spicer and Travis Wicks from MyPegasusonline. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having us here.
Very good.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Very good. Thanks, you guys. Really appreciate that. In the segment, we talk about business productivity. I want to have you guys on the show so you guys could share information about your company and how you're helping businesses become more productive.
Well, we really appreciate the introduction. Was that written with ChatGPT?
Absolutely.
There you go. So what we like to do is
hired a copywriter for $1,000 an hour, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So we're using a lot of the AI stuff as well. So what we wanted to share with you and your viewers is how we're using chat or AI in general, and how they can use it to help themselves with their own marketing, and how it integrates. We've got a new system called Easy Leads 360 and how that integrates. But I really want to focus on giving them some tools that can help them. And also we've got some insight to keep them from getting into trouble with Google.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, let's take a look at that.
All right. So let me jump to the screen. All right, you're seeing the Pegasusonline website, correct?
No. Not yet.
There we go. Now you're seeing it.
Yep. There we go. Now we see it.
Perfect. Perfect. So, there's a lot of tools out there for marketing. We use a number of them like SEMrush or SEMrush, however you want to call it. This is a great tool for getting analytic data. I put in cybersecurity. You can see there's almost 91,000 searches per month. That's just in the US. It shows us how people are searching, what the questions are, related keywords, who the competitors are that are ranking for this stuff. So this stuff's been around for quite a while. Mm-hmm. The next level is, this is not quite AI, but it's a combination of analytics with some AI. Is a website we use called Answer the Public, and I'll let Travis explain a little bit more about how he's been using this with our clients in the Reno area.
Yeah, it's a powerful piece of software. It basically gives you the ability to see what people are searching for. Everybody uses Google to solve a problem, and Google will direct their problem in a form of a question directly to the best website that suits their needs. This tool shows us exactly what people are looking for. So when Franklin scrolls down, he'll be able to see a result for cybersecurity. That's all you search for. And we got 80 out of 80 results. And around the outside rim, you're going to see who, will, when, can, are, where. All these are questions that you can answer. I recommend to my clients that they actually just take these titles and create a blog directly out of this question. That way Google knows exactly who to direct to that person and organically raise your site to meet that need. So this is a very powerful tool. Really excited about using it, and we're sending it out to pretty much all of our clients at this point, just to let them know.
Yeah, and so you'll see there's.
Oh, sorry. Please.
You'll see that there's a lot of other data that comes with it. We're not going to go through the whole thing, but just having those keywords and knowing what to blog about, what to post on your social media will make a huge difference in getting Google's attention, because that's what we're all trying to do.
That's right.
Get Google's attention, right? So now you got a question. Now the next thing is, how do you create content? So, you know, the latest, I guess 5 months ago they released Chat GPT. Now they just released Chat GPT 4, and internally in our company we just call it Chad. We just call it Chad because it's too hard to say GPT all the time, right? So we just call it Chad. So I had Chad. I said, create a bio for Mac Jackson Jr. of Anderson Cyber Group, and here's what it did. So I'm just going to regenerate the response so you can see how fast this thing.
Yes.
And this is it's actually thinking through this response. Sometimes you'll see the cursor actually backspace a little bit because it's changing its mind in real time.
It's doing an oops in real time.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I like what you guys are saying, that this is a great example. And I tell my students about this as well, to be careful when you use chat and AI when it generates information, because the information that is generated here is not true. It has made some mistakes there, but this is interesting.
But it's a good starting point, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says that I went to MIT. I would go to MIT, but thank you.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, now you have. So
yeah.
Not only does it give us content, but it also changes our timelines as well, right?
Right. Yeah, definitely changes timeline too.
Now, now let's look at another one. So we use another one called Jasper, and we have a chat. And so I just generated the same thing in the chat, and then I generated actually a full-blown one here. Let's see if you still want the MIT here. So this one seems to be a little more accurate. But one of the things that we use is originality.ai.
Yes.
And what this does is it allows us to make sure that, you know, if this program can tell that it's written by AI, Google obviously can tell, because Google's AI is, you know, very, very, it's got access to data of 30 years of people's behavior. So it's really good. So this one, so the chat GPT come up 96% AI. And then Jasper Chat came up 83% AI. And then, now this is pretty weird because Jasper, the normal one, came up 96% AI. When normally, like I said here, give me a paragraph and a list of the top cybersecurity threats. And that one came up at 93% original. So most of the time what we see is Jasper will write stuff that passes as original, not AI, compared to ChatGPT and the other tools that we've used.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, so that's one thing you really want to watch out. So you can create content, but first of all, does it read well? Does it connect emotionally with the users? Does it make sense? You know, and so it's a good starting point at this point. So, you know, we've got copywriters on our team, and they use this as a starting point, and then they'll take it from there. So it's very rare that we use ChatGPT or Jasper, and we have Word AI, and we have other ones. It's very rare that we use them just as is, but it does increase, you know, so our copywriter can go from one blog post an hour to two and a half.
Yeah,
okay, so
exactly.
So it increases our productivity, right? So that, we can be more productive. And it's not replacing us yet, but, you know, it's on its way. Travis, so Travis is the head of the design team at Pegasus Online. And So we've experimented with it a little bit, but I'll let Travis talk to you about the results and what we.
Yeah, this part's really fascinating. So I just kind of wanted to show artwork that AI systems have created. Anybody can go in now and just kind of describe a picture or something they want to create. And here's a site that is just a gallery for all these AI artworks that are out there created. I have a real world example to share with you on an actual website. Franklin, could you go to K Designers? So go to bathroom, please. So this image, we had a client that K Designers, they came to us with this image right here. This bathroom here on the left-hand side is the original image. Everything past the shower over was all generated by the AI. And I'm talking the floor, the wall, the window, the plant in the window, the artwork on the little desk or table, whatever that is there, towels, everything there was generated by AI. We just asked it to create or extend this image out all the way so we could have this text effect over the top without cropping into the original image. So it's a very intelligent tool to allow us to do a lot more. Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. AI definitely has some potential and definitely a starting point for creators and designers.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
And but we're not firing our design team yet.
Right.
Like I said, like Travis, it's a great enhancement. It really adds to what we're doing, makes our life easier. The other thing with the we've tried using different AI design tools to create legitimate give me a man standing outside of a restaurant who looks hungry, and it does pretty good, but it's still not ready for prime time. We don't believe.
Yeah, you'll notice arms are weird. Hands might have an extra finger or less finger. So some
of those.
Yeah, it's still not 100%. So we're not replacing photographers or creatives yet, but we're getting pretty close to the point where this is going to disrupt the industry, the creative industry in a big way.
It is a disruptor.
It is absolutely, and it'll make the idea of creating something that anybody that can just put a few words into a prompt, they'll be able to create any artwork that they can imagine. So it will kind of expand it out to new people who haven't traditionally had the time or the resources or the education. And so it will allow more people to use these tools. But at the same time, it's going to disrupt a lot. And I'm really curious how that's going to proceed. So
and when you get disrupted, if you don't adjust, then you remain disrupted, right? So
that's right.
So we're using it for ourselves because we know that other agencies are using this and they're increasing their productivity. So instead of throwing in the towel, we're just adjusting to what's here now and what's coming. I can't even imagine in 5 years where we're going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting where our society will be led to because of AI and all of its benefits and capabilities.
And then you've got the deep fake stuff going on as well, right?
Yes.
So one of the things, for the person who's doing their own marketing and own digital online presence, these tools are really great. They're really good starting points, and we just want to reemphasize that it's not going to do all the work for you. You still have to do some of the work, but at this point, it's really good to help a person who can't. What do I write about my company? Well, here's all these questions. Just start answering these questions. Or have chat GPT answer it, or you answer it, or a combination thereof. So it makes you more competitive, right, with other people. Especially you're competing against agencies, you're competing against people that have been doing this for a long time. So it takes these extra tools to get you that extra boost. We haven't, and one of the things for content is people love video, right? So we've been looking at these different video ones And the voices are pretty good. It's pretty amazing what they can do with the voices. You can even upload your voice and it will talk back as if it was speaking in your voice. But we haven't found that the facial expressions are realistic enough yet. They're kind of creepy, actually.
Yes, they are definitely kind of creepy.
Yep. Yeah, they don't pass that uncanny valley for sure yet.
Right.
Yet. It's coming.
Yep.
It's definitely coming. So, so this time we use other ways to create videos and content with that without using the AI stuff. But we're looking forward to it because, to create meaningful content is the other thing, whether it's with, text, images, or videos is really the important thing, is because not only is Google looking at your stuff, but people are coming into your website and looking at it as well. And if it doesn't make sense or it's not relevant to them and it doesn't have that visceral component, then they're just going to bounce off your site. And one of the things we did was we got a new Facebook ad that we're launching next week for our new Easy Leads 360 system.
Yes.
And with it, so we created the ad, and then I'm sure you're familiar with neuro-linguistic programming, NLP.
Yes.
So we said, okay, all right, Chad, here, take this ad that we just wrote, and we spent a lot of time writing it, and here, you rewrite it using NLP. Within a minute, we had this great, imagine that you were, and blah, 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 just speaking in NLP. So that's what we're using for our video. That's the text we're using for our video. Because it just really complements and comes in with a different way. Because I understand NLP and I've done a little bit of training in it, but I'm no master by any means. But to give it to Chad, and Chad spits it out, man, it just makes it so much easier. And it would have took hours or hundreds of thousands of dollars to get somebody to write that same thing for me.
That's right. Yeah, there's definitely some great benefits from it. Have you heard of a website called AI Joe?
That one I have not.
We use that a couple times here, and on my show, he does the podcast, the Cybersecurity News, but the anchor is completely AI generated. And it's getting to a point where it looks real. I would say it's close to like 95% realistic. The facial expressions, when words are articulated, how it moves the eyes and heads around, it's pretty interesting. So
AI Joe.
AI Joe, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to look that one up. There's so many elements, so it's good that's why we just wanted to share a few of the tools we're using. So like you share with us, like, oh, let me go check out AI Joe. That's how we help each other in the community.
Collaboration.
Sharing this exactly before AI takes over everything. So
right before AI start collaborating against all the rules, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I hear AI Joe is now talking to Tesla cars and rerouting them. So and so with our new Easy Lead system, there's another kind of AI, right? So our Easy Lead system uses AI, but it actually connects with Chat GPT-4. It connects to create content for blog posts, for emails, and for websites if needed. But basically, there's also AI as an automated intelligence. And that's basically what our Easy Leads 360 system is it's basically putting your marketing on autopilot, which is wonderful because, even as an agency ourselves, we use this tool to do this. We use that tool to do this. We use another tool to do this. And trying to keep them all together and in sync drives you crazy. I mean, we've been through so many tools in the last 13 years, trying to get things working together. And now with Easy Leads 360, it's an all-in-one system, which makes it, we're using it ourselves, excuse me. And, basically it's 3 steps. It helps with the capturing the leads and converting them into customers. So first you got to capture them, whether it's by phone or scheduling, then you're going to nurture them. So they automatically respond back. If you don't respond in 5 minutes, there's all kinds of things it can do. Send up follow-up emails, but eventually we want to get to the close, right? Because that's the whole bottom line is we want more customers, clients, patients, whatever, business you're in. That's what we want. So this just allows in one system that basically does it all and does it really, really, really well. It's not perfect, but neither is Google.
Right. That's true.
As we saw with the release of their AI, their AI announcement was just really botched, right? So even Google's fallible. Yeah, so that basically we're looking forward to coming on again and talking more in depth about Easy Leads 360. But we just want to kind of introduce it, show how we're using it. Again, capture more leads, you book more appointments, you unlock new opportunities. So there's so many features that we could spend a whole time just talking about. But again, I just wanted to introduce that there are these systems out there, and this is a game changer. This is really a game changer in our industry because we're moving from the digital marketing agency model, like so many other ones are, into more, this is a SaaS, or software as a service model.
Yes.
So we're giving, not only we can make you an amazing website that will convert, but now we can connect it completely within this framework so that everything's talking together. You're not missing, like, we have the web chats, so you don't miss anything.
Great.
Yeah, and as soon as somebody fills this out, I get a text notification. I can respond right back to them, because you got 5 minutes basically, on an industry average to respond back, and that's super important. Now, once you respond back, or if you have automated responses back, then what do you do? Now you got to get, so that's where we have different funnels and workflows that nurture, if we miss call or missed appointments, and then people that are no shows, and we have a nurturing sequence that will nurture them for a year to try and get them to get our attention. And it's all in one system. That's why we call it Easy Leads 360, because it's all encompassing.
Oh, very good. Very good. Yeah, I'd definitely like to see how that goes, and have you back on the show and talk more about that. That's a really, really good potential there for that system.
Yeah, that'd be great, because we're super excited about it, and it's been great for our agency, and now we're getting to share it with others. So yeah, we'll have a whole nother show just on that one, because there's so much to unpack.
Yeah, very good, very good. So how will our audience and how will the public get a hold of you guys?
The best way is our website, MyPegasusonline.com. And then when you go to our website, you got the little chat bubble at the bottom. You can hit that and talk with us instantly.
Absolutely. And I like the way when I consulted with you guys came up with the scripting scenario, where you tell the story and help put your websites using the scripting model. And I just want to tell the viewers, I work with these guys on this, and it's really cool. It's a really cool opportunity for you guys to talk to them and have this done for your business as well. They actually help you put together your story for your business, where your customers will get to know your products and services and how they can relate to what you are doing. And this is a company you definitely should talk to. So
I appreciate that,
guys. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, great, fellows. Let's have you guys on our show again. And one more time, give that website out. Is there a phone number you have as well?
The best way is MyPegasusonline, and it's PEGASUS. Very hard. That word gets misspelled. I even misspell it. But MyPegasusonline.com. And then you can do the chat, our phone number, everything you need is right there to get in touch with us. Then we'll look forward to coming back to talking about Easy 360, and also what you were just mentioning, Brand Script, which is a whole nother show in itself.
That's right. It's a great product.
Travis, for that one, we better grab a beer and just sit for a while, because Travis can tell you for hours the power of Brand Script.
It's intensive. Yeah,
really cool.
We'll look forward to that.
Really cool. I'm glad you guys are able to join us here virtually as well. Love to have you in the studio sometime, but hey, virtual, it works out really well. Glad to have you guys here. We definitely all need to get together again, and look forward to speaking with you about your new products and stuff. So thank you very much, Travis and Franklin from MyPegasusonline, for being here with us. And we'll definitely be back when we see you guys again.
Excellent.
Appreciate it.
So much.
All right. Take care, you guys.